Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's We Roguelike It. I'm your host, Boston. Sorry, we're going through all the roguelikes and the yada yada and the rain and the risk and the monsoon and
The
etc.
misses we hits.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Catching up on all the roguelikes we missed. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Hi, did we really miss them, or were they in our hearts the entire time?
That's right. It's the roguelikes we met along the way, is the real friends.
Mm-hmm.
This is our fourth and final week of Risk of Rain 2. The Risk of Rain 2, I'm still not going to the last level, you can't make me, the game.
Yes, 100%.
Yep.
I played like 5 runs of this week, I think, and not once do I ever go to the final world.
The teleporter will not be aligned to the moon. It will stay aligned to the planet. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's the way that I want.
Yeah, firmly never going there at all. I had enough trouble this week of just staying alive once you hit that kind of like level 10 or 10 stages sort of thing, and that's hard enough without having to go somewhere else.
Yeah, because I always forget that they keep throwing additional items in there to make it harder for you. Like they throw in those green tinted people. Who've got
Yeah.
like the green aura around, which do like throw those spikes down, and those spikes really hurt.
Yep.
And then today I was going for a the speedrun chest in the ice place.
Yeah, I still never got that. I keep missing it by a minute or two.
Yeah, me and myself and friend of the show Rob were going for it today, so we did a couple of runs trying to get to it, and every time the ice level doesn't spawn, and it's a different level that spawns, which is really annoying. And then I was reminded during that run of, oh yeah, I forgot about those time lost enemies that explode in the purple. And if you get caught in that purple explosion, it is a one-shot.
Yeah, I forgot about those.
Uh-huh. And not great.
Risk Rain 2, maybe you're a little too mean sometimes. Just gonna throw that out there.
I think it's a potentially in there just to literally stop you from being able to have an infinite run.
Oh, sure.
After a certain point, you kind of do get a little bit too strong. Which we'll talk about my engineer in a moment. I always kind
of take umbrage with that though, because like
I end it. Let me be strong.
Yeah, like let me if I want to run have a run that runs for like 48 hours, whatever, man. Like if you want me to lose, I'll go to the moon. That's your non sequitur quote of the week.
Yes.
But like
which,
you don't.
By the way, one of the captain's secondary abilities is to kill the final boss with a supply beacon. Just GTFO.
Why? That's cruel. But yeah, I know my like game design opinions is that maybe you should let the player be a little bit stronger. But especially in a roguelike, like if it's not something that is well known for its brutal difficulty, maybe just let people keep on keeping on, you know? Why not?
So we mentioned it in passing in a different show. But Doom 2016 is one of the greatest games that has been released in the past, arguably 20 years.
I would agree with that, sure.
And that's nothing but a power fantasy.
That's true. That's true. If you want to just like punch your way through that entire game screaming the entire time, games like, yeah, man, go nuts. Feels pretty good.
Actually, hold on a minute. Now I have to know something here. I have to know who did it first. And it's related to both our gaming show and our regular show. Okay.
Oh.
And our Critical Mass show, I should say. They learned from John Wick.
I learned it from you. Yeah,
because John Wick is the bad guy, arguably, but
sure.
he's the final boss, and we are supporting the final boss in John Wick going to do what he needs to do.
Okay.
The Doom Marine is the final boss,
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
and we are supporting the Doom Marine and doing what he needs to do.
Hmm.
In a roguelike, if you put that much time and get that good at the game where you can become the final boss that like Thanos snaps everyone out of existence,
Sure.
let them do it.
Let them be the final boss. Sure.
Like it should not be a case of, well, we're just gonna throw in these things to trick you. Trixie Hobbits
Right.
has got me all worked up because they time lost me, or whatever you want to refer to it as. Like,
It let the player go to the moon and be like level 400, and the final boss
mhm.
spawns is like, yep, nope, peace, bye, you win.
Yeah,
See ya.
like literally
No
one
thanks.
shot done. Like,
That's right. It doesn't even spawn
why
anymore. It just leaves a note of like, no, thank you, goodbye.
exactly? Like the rats from Enter the Gungeon, where it's like, we
That's right.
left you this stuff.
All right.
Like, I don't know why they do it, and it annoys me because the game is challenging enough, and sometimes it gets
Hmm.
really challenging when there's a lot of people on the screen. But don't throw in these you're looping and now you've got this ridiculous high.
Right.
The enemies are strong enough as it is, especially when you decide to spawn 4 of those teapot things at the same
Oh
time.
my god. Every week.
Like,
Every
you
week.
don't need the green spiky stuff. You don't need the purple explosion stuff. You don't need it.
All right. I'm already getting my health leached off of me, and four of them are pulling me into like the nether
Mhm.
realm in the middle of them.
It's like a wild, wild west like sentence of death. Like you're getting
Hmm.
pulled in 4 different directions by
That's
these
right.
giant teapots.
I feel like both of us are the only ones that would make that reference, by the way.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's so stupid. Like, let me be the god of the world. Let me literally load in, start the teleporter, snap my fingers, go to the next level. Start the teleporter, snap my
Yeah.
fingers, go to the next level.
Yeah, because
It's
like,
gonna end one way or the other.
because I feel like there's already enough in. Personally, I think there's already enough in the game of, um, the more there's like four stats in the game. One is like your character level. One is like the other level, the stages you've completed, and then that bar that shows the fuzzy difficulty
The
over time.
difficulty. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Um, and I feel like the longer your run is and the higher that fuzzy difficulty is, the more you're going to get the elite enemies or packs of those. You're going to get the bosses randomly spawning. You're going to get the scavenger, which to me is the protection against long runs. And the scavenger
Uh-huh.
typically has your loadout and is fighting you and is stealing your items. So like to
Yep.
me that's the ultimate run protection, which is you're fighting yourself along with the 500 other enemies and 50 bosses that are on the screen. So like the idea that you
Uh-huh.
need a step above that is I think a little bit too much.
Yeah, I think it's a little cruel.
Yeah.
But speaking of a little cruel, so you mentioned how you were going through and trying to do the different like challenges, the specific
Yeah,
challenges
like
for some people.
the secondary skill challenges for some characters, yeah.
Yeah, so I did that with the engineer,
Oh,
who
okay.
is he's my favorite character to play solo as because his turrets take your items with them, so they clone what you currently shoot.
Oh, okay. I had wanted to play as the engineer this week because I knew you liked that character so much, and I just ran out of time.
Yeah, so let's say you pick up 20 soldier syringes. Like the engineer's weapon is a grenade launcher,
Hmm.
um, but it fires like outwards and it spreads and it's bouncy grenade, so it's hard to hit people in the air.
Oh, okay.
Um, he's also got mines, which he plants. If you give them a second to set themselves, then they do 600% damage instead of 200% damage.
Wow. Okay.
Um, and he's got his turrets, which he can have 2 of. But
Okay.
anytime you spawn the turret, it takes whatever items you've collected, clones them, and gives it to itself.
It's almost like you have two additional like commandos almost. Like here you're putting out like the
Yes.
two of the character commando next to you.
And
Interesting.
so if you have, and they fire machine guns, so they're really good with anti-air stuff. Um,
Gotcha.
so if you have like 10 soldier syringes and you increase your base rate of fire by 10%, number one, not only is the grenade launcher hilarious when it does that because it's a hold and charge and it goes bloop 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 as it loads grenades into the barrel and it goes
Right.
bloop 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 as it fires them all.
Okay.
When your fire rate is high enough, it's like bloop 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 bloop.
Okay.
But then you've also got these two turrets who are firing machine guns, which is 10 times faster because you've got the
Right.
soldier syringes.
They're just dumping at
Adding
that point.
everything else you can do so they can heal themselves, like the item that gives you the healing when stationary, because they're
Yeah.
stationary turrets, they're constantly
Ah.
healing themselves.
Oh, okay. All right.
So depending on your loadout, like it can make a big difference, and they can be huge DPS dealers. Like
Yeah.
if you amass like a lot of items, they can be ridiculous. They also can do like the chain the barbed wire and take when they take damage, they
Right.
deal damage kind of thing.
Okay.
I didn't notice this until today, but they also get little cosmetic versions of everything that you've got too.
Okay, so it also has like all the stuff strapped on them like your character does.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
So I got the Aegis shield, which is the one that I can't even remember what it does now, but it's the bright orange, the red, vibrant red color.
Yeah, yeah,
It's one of those items, and like you literally strap a shield to your arm.
yeah.
Because they have three little legs, they strap out to one of their legs, which is just hilarious.
That's really good.
So I did a bunch of challenges with him.
Hmm.
His other ability, by the way, is a bubble shield that he can drop the bubble
Hmm.
and thing go. The bubble shield gets upgraded to a paint it and fire it lasers, like rocket system,
Oh wow. Okay.
which is that's cool. His mines become walking mines,
Oh geez.
so as soon as an enemy gets close, they'll just sprint at the enemy and blow up.
Hmm.
And instead of 200 to 600, they do a base 400% damage, which is fine by me.
I
Because
like the challenge for spider mines. As engineer, defeat the teleporter boss in less than 5 seconds after it spawns. Great.
which let me tell you, with a bunch of items, it's
Hmm.
really not that hard to do.
Yep.
And his final thing is he upgrades his turrets to laser turrets
Oh.
that do 200% damage instead of 100%. They slow the enemy down and they walk.
Oh man.
So they literally just follow you around the entire time, like they're
That's
trotting
great.
behind you like little drones. It's so strong.
Man.
Yeah, I love the engineer. Engineer is my class.
Yeah.
Shout
I
out
gotta I gotta
to
play with that.
I think when me and Rob were playing today, like we got him like 3 achievements.
Hmm.
We got him. We definitely got him the open the gate one in the sand level, which, if you don't know, there's two switches on that level that you have to press at the same time to open the gate.
Yeah, like the big kind of crisscross gate that's there.
Yeah, and when you do that, you get an achievement and another item. So we got him that one. We got him perfection, which is to complete an entire teleport event without losing health.
Yeah.
Um, which, if you have an engineer in your team, is pretty easy. You just sit back somewhere and hide, and then the engineer can deal with everything.
Right.
Um, that wasn't the case with him though. He was the stupid robot with the nail gun, and he was just shooting everything from range.
Yeah.
Um, and we unlocked him something else as well, but he unlocked the commando, and then he promptly completed two of the commando challenges,
Oh
like in
wow. Okay.
one level, in about 2 seconds. I was like,
Jeez.
okay, I
Nice.
guess we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
But no, we did a lot, and it was fun. Like, you forget
Yeah.
how fun this game is.
Yeah. When it's kind of when it's at its best, Risk of Rain 2 is really good.
Hmm.
But once it kind of like flips that switch and starts getting a little bit mean, I think that's where I sort of start saying like, "What are you doing, Risk Rain 2? Come on, what are we doing here?" I think that's
Hmm.
when it starts getting to be a bit of a bummer. Um,
Because I don't get it. Like, I don't get why you would do that. Like,
yeah,
I- is this the early access problem that we've talked about before with this kind of stuff coming back to haunt it? Maybe.
yeah, and they had that big something of the Void patch they came out with. It's essentially they're like 2.0 for Risk of Rain 2. Was that like how much of it is like the early access problem we talk about, and how much of it is like, all right, if you're still playing this game at this point, like let's start really challenging you. But
Hmm.
that's a pretty delicate balancing act you need to do uh, for something like this. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I'm torn.
Yeah,
I genuinely am.
we have some hard choices to make next week. for I mean, the scientists have some hard choices next week of where the heck does this thing go in our list. This isn't.
Hmm.
Sometimes we have an easy choice of like this game is great or this game is all the way at the bottom, very very easily. But sometimes we have a Risk Rain too, where it's really good and really frustrating and really terrible and a fantastic, great, wonderful, bad game. So I don't know what we're gonna
So
do.
it's a roguelike.
Yeah, I think if you want to put it in a nutshell, it's one of them roguelikes. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Scientists will join you next week. I also just realized we forgot to pick what game we're going to play next, so tune in next week for that. We'll see you all next run. Bye.
Uh